Welcome back to Vintage Steel Garage. I'm working here on this Dodge Dart crossmember. In fact, I made a mistake the other day. I said it was a 1970 Dodge Dart. It's not, it's 71. So proves I've had it in the garage 5 years. I've forgotten how old it was. Anyway, so I'm working on this crossmember here, and as I said before, the mounts, I've got this aftermarket mount here. It's actually taller than the original one. Now this is a polybush one, upgraded polyurethane urethane bush, upgraded one. So it's going to make it stiffer, and this was all just split and wrecked. So I worked out this was 10mm taller than this one. So cut this crossmember out, dropped it down 10mm to simulate the difference. However, when I put it on the car, I realised the actual tail of the gearbox, which is sort of here, coming out here this way, is actually pointed up in the air towards the floor, and it was actually touching on the floor here. I'll show you in a minute. Now you've got to remember, this car was designed to only have a straight six engine, slant six engine in, and a gearbox that came with that engine. This has got the upgraded bigger gearbox in 727 gearbox and the 360cc engine, V8 engine, which is 6 litre. So what I found out when I have a look underneath here, you can see the tail here was too high up. So even with the original mount, it must have been causing problems where the actual tail was leaning up like that, and then obviously you're then coming back down to the drive shaft towards the back, the prop shaft. So I need this on a very slight level, if not downward angle, and you can just about see here, if I point, it was actually touching here on the body mount. So I need to clearance that. So what I'm going to do now is cut this back out here. So I'm going to cut these welds, bolt the crossmember on, bolt the polyurethane bus in there, drop the gearbox down to get the nose height, the correct clearance from the floor, and then whatever that gap is there, I'll weld a plate on. But to aid that, I'm going to weld some little brackets on using this length of steel I've got here, which is sort of 25mm by 3mm steel. So I'm going to sort of weld this across here like that, weld it on the top side, leave the bottom side undone, bolt it all together, mark it with a marker pen, and then weld it all up. So what I'm going to do, cut that out, weld this to the top, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Oh, and not to brag, I noticed Chris on all the gear, no idea, he's bought a parts washer similar to this one, but it's a smaller one. So Chris, mine's bigger than yours. Talk to you soon. Okay, so what I've done, welded these plates on the side here, so it gives me about another 20mm to put this in here, and then adjust the height that this needs to be. So that would be flush back where it was, and then that would be like about 10mm down like that. Get the height right, mark it, weld it both sides, and then box the ends in, tidy these welds up here, seam weld it along here and round here, and then that's the new thing. So I'm going to go and try that under the car and see how that looks. Okay, so I've got this crossmember back in place now. 4 bolts in, 2 bolts that side, 2 bolts that side. Got the gearbox in, got the polyurethane mounting, which is bolted up through there. Dropped this plate down, dropped it probably a good, I don't know, 15 mil down there, 15 mil on the other side, and you can see I've now got clearance around the top of the prop where I didn't have before. And if I show you on the far side, if I can see there, let me get some better light. Get some better light there. You can see it was actually hitting the transmission tunnel there before with the top corner of the gearbox. So I've now got a little bit more clearance there. Probably, look at it, maybe 10 mil. So what I'm going to do now is mark a couple of lines here and on the other side, and then I can get it welded up. In fact, that's probably just on the point of nearly popping out. So I might pop a bolt in there, get that in place. Look at it, the angle of the gearbox seems about right now. As the transmission pan is about level, so that's looking good. And while we're here, oops, not very good with the camera work today. Just gives you a better look inside the engine bay, which we didn't do the other day. I didn't have another light with me. So you can see there, this is the 360 crate engine, but it's probably not run for about 5 years. So there's the odd thing where we've got a bit of aluminium corrosion on here. You can see it's just rushing straight off. Had the headers off on this once, wrapped them. See where I've wrapped them there, because they've run very tight to the engine in a wall that side, and on this side they're ridiculously tight to the steering. So right, let's get this welded up. I'll show you what it looks like and come back in a minute. Thank you. Okay, I've welded this up, pretty happy with that. Welding's not exactly mint, but dropped it down, paddled in the ends, boxed in the ends. That's probably the prettiest side, to be honest. So I panelled it in, got the ends panelled in. That's all nice and tight in there. So I'm going to try it on, see if it looks okay. Then probably tomorrow night take it off again, give it a coat of paint, and that'll be that job done. Well, times like these you wonder why this is taking you nearly 4 years to do. You look at it, it's a couple of hours over 2 nights. Modified it down, dropped it down, strengthened it, got the clearance up there I needed, which I didn't have, which you can probably just see a witness mark where it was touching before. So now it's pretty sound, it's in place. Quite happy. I mean, the whole reason this all started really was the diff. I can't show you at the back because the light's on. The diff was leaking, so I took the diff out. In fact, I will turn around and show you. Just try and show the light a little bit. So the diff here was leaking, so the diff comes out the front here. So to do it I had to take the prop out. I couldn't take the prop out because the yoke was stuck in the transmission nose, so then I had to take the prop apart, then get that out. Then got to the point here where this yoke here wouldn't slide in and out, whereas it will now, and it wasn't before. So it was just stiff. The actual splines in the end, let's just get that out. The splines in the end of the yoke here, which we're not going to see too well there. No, you're not going to see. No, just about there, yeah. they were all little burrs on the end of them, so it wasn't sliding in and out. So I had to take them out and use a needle file, go around every single one of those till I could get it to clearance. So now it should hopefully slide in like that. So what I can do now, I can start to get the prop back together. That's if I can find all the parts in the garage somewhere and rebuild that. So onto the prop next. Okay, so I've found the prop shaft, one of the UJs. Annoyingly I've lost one of the end bits, so I think I'm going to have to get some new UJs, but also if you look at this one here, I've lost the cap off the end of it, so it's only going to get moisture in. Now the other thing I seem to have a problem with is it looks like someone, if you look on it square, looks like someone's been hitting it here to try and get the prop in. Now I suspect with this end of the prop having the yoke there like that, this was the tail that wouldn't go in the gearbox because the splines were catching. So I think someone's had that in the gearbox and then hammered the end of this, probably with a lump hammer like this, which has caused this damage, and it's made the ends of these go slightly elliptical. And if you listen, that you can see is the cup spinning and clicking, and it's the same on the other side here. So I think what I'm going to have to do is take it to the local prop shop. They'll probably cut the end of this off here, take this yoke off, weld a new one in, put a new UJ on this end, put a new UJ on that end, and balance it up. So what I'm going to do is measure the distance that I want, which is from the gearbox, which will be about here, because this slides in and out to allow for suspension travel. So I'm going to pick a point on here, probably about here, where it will run. So it doesn't look a great one anyway, really, to be honest, just a few marks on it. Anyway, it's what I've got, so I'll have to make do. So I'm going to measure from where the gearbox is on here to the centre liner here, give that measurement to the prop shop, and they'll either recon this one or make me a new one up.